to salvage Iraq's peace initiative. And U.S. Marines launch what could be the prelude to a ground war. This is the CBS Evening News. Bob Schieffer reporting. Good evening. With all signs now indicating the Allied forces could launch a ground attack on Iraqi forces within a matter of days, perhaps even hours, attention on the diplomatic front is shifting this weekend to Moscow. The Iraqi foreign minister is scheduled to arrive there soon for talks with Soviet leader Gorbachev, and the UN Secretary General Perez de Cuellar said tonight those talks could be the beginning of a thaw leading to a negotiated settlement. Doug Tennell has been monitoring the diplomatic maneuvering today from his post in Amman. We begin with his report.
Iraq's envoy to the UN today said his government was ready to negotiate.
We are not really putting any condition. We have repeatedly stated that we are ready for a genuine, bona fide dialogue without any condition.
And in half-dozen capitals around the world, diplomats are working round the clock to make that happen. They are trying to turn a proposal President Bush called a hoax into a viable alternative to a costly ground war for Kuwait. In Moscow, officials welcomed the Iraqi statement, despite a list of conditions that Soviet diplomats said may render it meaningless.
The thing which might lead to positive results is certainly the Iraqi willingness, at least to talk now, about the withdrawal of their forces from Kuwait. And we'd like to pick it up and to pursue this line in our discussions with them.
In Tokyo, the Soviet envoy who met Saddam Hussein last week called for a flexible response from the coalition. Iraq's foreign minister Tariq Aziz is headed to Moscow to meet with Mikhail Gorbachev soon.
I think the visit of Tariq Aziz to Moscow within the next few hours is going to be very important, very significant, and without any exaggeration, it could be a turning point in this war.
The Soviet effort is being closely coordinated with officials in Tehran. Iran's foreign minister met Iraqi officials today, and in Amman, Jordan, Yasser Arafat condemned the quick and categoric rejection of the Iraqi proposal by President Bush.
It is better for him not to be the hero of this mad war, but to be the hero of peace.
But on the ground, the Allied answer to Iraq's proposal, more bombing. And Baghdad's response, more pictures of the casualties. On a field trip outside Baghdad today, Iraqi officials told reporters these people were injured in overnight air raids.
Arab officials here hope there will be no ground war until the meetings between the Soviets and the Iraqis are over. That leaves at least 48 hours for diplomacy to work. Not long, considering that many believe it may already be too late. Doug Tennell, CBS News, Amman.
It was revealed today that Soviet leader Gorbachev wrote President Bush earlier this week before the Iraqi proposal, asking for a delay in the ground war until after the talks in Moscow. Randall Pinkston is standing by in Kennebunkport, Maine, where the president is spending the holiday weekend. Randall?
Bob, the president refused today to comment on that letter from Soviet leaders requesting a delay in the ground war, but on the same day the letter arrived, senior administration officials said the ground war wouldn't begin for a few days. Presumably that would give the Iraqi delegation time to get to Moscow for their meeting early next week. Mr. Bush paid the Soviets a compliment today, saying they're trying to be constructive in their talks with Iraq. And given the Soviet Union's sometimes tenuous role with respect to the anti-Iraq coalition, Mr. Bush wants to appear to be receptive to any ideas coming out of Moscow about a negotiated settlement. But the president again rejected the offer from Iraq yesterday to pull out of Kuwait, an offer laden with conditions that the allies are unwilling to accept.
Here we go.
Braving sub-freezing temperatures and a brisk wind, the president took one of his patented power walks along a deserted stretch of beach near his Kennebunkport vacation home. After calling the Iraqi peace offer yesterday a cruel hoax, the president today expressed confidence that the coalition will accept nothing short of full, unconditional compliance with United Nations resolutions.
The United Nations position is solid, and there's no giving on that at all.
But just a day after the U.S. and its coalition partners roundly rejected the Iraqi offer, Defense Secretary Dick Cheney saw at least some reason to be hopeful.
I think it means that we're making some progress in terms of bringing them around to the point of view that they have to get out of Kuwait. It's the first time since the beginning of the war last August 2nd they've done anything other than say Kuwait is part of Iraq.
President Bush talked to a number of world leaders today about the situation in the Gulf, including Mitterrand of France, Major of Great Britain, and Ozal of Turkey. But the President and Mrs. Bush seem determined to make this President's Day weekend as much of a vacation as possible. Today, on a very cold day here in Kennebunkport, only one senior administration official was with the President. Bob?
Thank you, Randall. Arab foreign ministers met for a second day in Egypt, where not everyone is pleased with the reception given the Iraqi offer. Peter Van Zandt in Cairo has that now.
In Egypt, the most populous and important Arab member of the coalition, there is concern among some that the U.S. brushed aside Saddam Hussein's conditional peace plan. Support for the coalition runs deep here, but some believe the U.S. is missing an opportunity. Political analyst Tashin Bashir, who has close ties to the Egyptian presidency, says Iraq is waving the white flag.
Saddam Hussein declared he cannot continue the war. That is enough. We have to egg him on. And we have to play as many games as he plays to foil his game. But let him move out of Kuwait with dignity.
Officially, members of the Arab anti-Iraq coalition have joined the U.S. in rejecting Saddam's peace offering.
The only positive point in this initiative is the word withdrawal. For the first time, he didn't mention the government number 19. He mentioned to withdraw from Kuwait.
One Egyptian observer says the U.S. should forget the rhetoric in yesterday's Iraqi radio broadcast and focus instead on the fact that Iraq says it is willing to leave Kuwait.
It is a time of diplomacy. It is a time of not picking words or splitting hairs about total surrender. We don't want total surrender. We want him out of Kuwait.
In Cairo today, foreign ministers from 8 Arab nations passed a resolution calling on Israel to withdraw from all occupied territories once the war is over. The ministers may be sending a signal to Iraq: leave Kuwait and we'll fight the diplomatic battle for you, giving Saddam Hussein a face-saving way to retreat. Peter Van Sant, CBS News, Cairo.
And coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, Dan Rather joins us live from Saudi Arabia, and later Jerry Bowen on a hometown legend.
A cold always starts small. A stuffy nose, a little sneeze. But before you know it, your cold is full grown. That's when you need Dimetap, the grown-up medicine. If it was any stronger, you'd need a prescription. Maximum strength Dimetap Extend tabs work for 12 full hours. It's the way to relieve the congestion and sneezing of a full-grown cold. Dimetap, relief for the full-grown cold.
Ooh, I love the taste of Crab Delights from Lewis Kemp. Crab Delights tonight. It's a seafood paradise.
So easy, so delicious.
Crab Delights tonight from Lewis Kemp.
Poison ivy, insect bites, rashes. Too many choices.
You only need one. Cordade.
Stop the itch and heal the rash with a brand doctors recommend most.
Present Arms.
Cortade, the only aid you need.
Somebody made a big mistake here.
What's that, Reach?
Well, I'm eating these Harvest Crisp crackers, and I don't get it. Here, taste one.
Okay.
How's that? Great? Huh?
That's good, hon.
Light, crispy?
It's delicious.
Aha! So what's a delicious cracker like Harvest Crisp doing in a box that says low fat, no cholesterol?
Somebody put him in the wrong box.
Well, who could have made such a mistake?
Nabisco.
I mean, if Harvest Crisps are so good for you, how come I can't stop eating them?
I don't know, hon.
I love them.
Iraq fired 2 more Scud missiles into Israel today. The government gave few details, except that they fell in separate open areas of the country and caused no damage or injury. In Saudi Arabia, the Allied forces gave Iraqi troops what may have been their heaviest pounding yet. Dan Rather is heading up our coverage there, and for more on that, we go to him. Well, Dan, how does it look?
Good evening, Bob. First of all, there's a furious aerial assault on Iraqi tanks and artillery positions, preparing for what everybody here thinks will be the green light for the beginning of the ground offensive at almost any moment. Eric Ingberg has more about what's going on.
U.S. Marines along the Kuwait border late last night and early this morning hit dug-in Iraqi troops with one of the heaviest barrages of the war. Rapid-fire artillery shelling and airstrikes landed on enemy lines north of Kafchi with such ferocity, the Marines in their foxholes felt the ground tremble. On another part of the front, Army Apache helicopters blasted an Iraqi radar station, knocking out 6 vehicles. The Allies seem to be answering Iraq's peace maneuvers with a war-as-usual attitude. 2,600 air missions were flown, including a French missile strike against a bunker in Kuwait. Commanders would not even give a grant of safe conduct to Tariq Aziz on his trip to see Gorbachev.
We control the airspace. We're at war. If they're flying over the Iraqi theater of operations, they are at great extreme risk.
The A-10 Warthog has been one key to recent success in the campaign against the Republican Guard's tanks and troops. 2 of the planes were lost over Guard positions, the first time that has happened. The Allied POW camps are now seeing a few Guard troops ready to surrender. The U.S. commander is hunting for an explanation for a lack of enemy activity. Today suggested the 2-week-old Battle of Khafji was still haunting Iraqi officers who don't know how to cope with the American ability to use air power and artillery in a well-coordinated attack. It's believed that Saddam still has the ability to communicate directly with his commanders in Kuwait. So, U.S. generals believe they will know if he gives the order to withdraw. Until then, they say, Iraqi troops moving in any direction will be considered fair game unless they have white flags in their hands. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Saudi Arabia.
Scott Pelley has been spending some time with soldiers of a U.S. Army artillery unit right near the front lines. He found them more than willing to keep the air war going.
Amid the criticism of the air campaign, U.S. soldiers watch planes overhead and only hope for increased bombardment of Iraq's military. They believe more bombs on target mean fewer Allied casualties on the ground.
Never too much. As far as I'm concerned, when the ground troops go in, I'd like to do as little as possible.
The invasion force is on hold while airstrikes shift their emphasis to Iraq's frontline forces. Troops who have waited months in the desert are now content to give the air war more time.
There's nothing that sounds any better than the sounds of freedom with the B-52 going overhead and pounding the hell out of them.
Some commanders say many Iraqi units already have been decimated, and they expect thousands of soldiers will simply give up.
Well, I think we're going to find a force that's kind of been shattered, and they're going to be nervous and apprehensive.
The winning of air superiority in the early days has proven to be the decisive difference as both sides prepare for an invasion. Defecting Iraqi soldiers say their troops can't sleep under the bombardment. Their convoys are attacked virtually every time they take the road. On the Allied side of the front, trucks jam the roads with virtually no fear of attack. U.S. soldiers are getting hot meals, extra days of training, and rest. While many commanders believe Iraqi forces are being badly hurt, they caution there will be tough fighting ahead. As the bombardment continues, troops on the ground hear the explosions coming nearer and wonder what waits across the border. Scott Pelley, CBS News, with U.S. forces in northern Saudi Arabia.
I spent some of this afternoon with a top Air Force commander who said, virtually as an aside, boy, we're really knocking out a lot of Iraqi tanks now. We're really working over their artillery positions, and said he, if we have a few more days, we can make things a whole lot easier for the ground forces, Bob.
Dan, you were there, I guess, about a month or so ago. What differences did you find on this trip in? How have things changed since you were there last?
Everybody now expects the green light from President Bush for a ground offensive. Just in the last 24 or 48 hours have been sort of a subset of that. Some people saying, well, the Soviets are into it now. That could delay us. But it's hard to find anybody here now who doesn't think that the ground offensive is going to start certainly within a week. Many people say, listen, it's a matter of a few days or hours at most. That's the biggest change. A real move to far forward, thinking offensive. Everybody in the phrase of this war, good to go now.
We hear these reports of this tremendous damage that the Allied warplanes caused last week on the Iraqi equipment. Now up to a third of their tanks and artillery are gone. Dan, what do the soldiers think about what they're going to find there? Do they think the Iraqi troops are going to fight?
They do. They think they'll fight. They think they'll fight well. That's one reason the ground troops, whatever their flag rank officers may be thinking and saying, the ground troops say, hey, if they want to pour it on with the air stuff for a while longer, we're perfectly willing to do so. There's also continuing concern about Saddam Hussein's ability to deliver his chemical weapons. Everybody knows he still has many chemical weapons. He has excellent artillery. His artillery is better, longer range than our own artillery, and everybody expects if there's a ground war that Saddam Hussein will use those chemical weapons. And that's one reason a lot of the line troops are saying, listen, we're ready to go. We'd like to get the thing over with, but we know it's going to be one hell of a fight if we do move.
All right. Dan Rather, we'll, of course, be hearing from you again throughout the weekend and all next week, of course. We'll be back with more news in just a moment.
It's your bed, your Serta Perfect Sleeper, but it's the most comfortable spot in the house. The Serta surface and support-only Serta builds in makes it that way, the way it should be. It's why people are saying, I want my Serta. Celebrate 60 years of excellence during the Serta Diamond Anniversary Sale at participating retailers. For brilliant savings on all Serta, even Perfect Sleeper, shop today.
Today, there's a diet pill that can help you lose weight without caffeine to make you nervous.
All my life I've been struggling with my weight. With Dexatrim, I finally lost weight and without being hungry.
No matter what else you've tried, Dexatrim can help you lose weight. Just one works all day, morning through bedtime to control your appetite and help you lose weight.
Dexatrim did it for me. I lost weight and feel great.
Today's caffeine-free Dexatrim. Nothing works harder to help you lose weight. Nothing.
Some things are more important to your peace of mind than you realize. Like knowing how to maintain regularity without drugs or medication. But do you know nutrition experts recommend increasing your dietary fiber intake as a drug-free way to promote regularity? And did you know that All Bran, as part of a balanced diet, is a very high source of dietary fiber? A high-fiber diet, including Kellogg's All Bran. It can be a drug-free way to maintain regularity.
I'm Charles Kuralt. The war and the recession have brought hard times to some American places. We'll cover the home front this Sunday morning.
You heard our White House correspondent Randall Pinkston say a moment ago that one of the leaders that President Bush phoned about the Gulf War today from Kennebunkport was Turkey's President Özal. With most Turks opposed to the war, he is walking a political high wire these days by committing troops and bases to the Allied cause. Bill Whitaker in London has a report about that.
Since the war began, a steady flow of tanks and troops has rumbled into this remote southeast corner of Turkey. Secretively, day and night, 250,000 Turkish troops so far, massed on the border with Iraq. Across the Zaho Mountains in Iraq, 200,000 Iraqi soldiers are dug in. Turkey says this massive buildup is purely defensive. Western analysts say it's part of a broader Allied strategy.
It has tied down large numbers of Iraqi troops and prevented them being moved south to the southern front. There must be a contingency plan that if things went terribly badly in the south, that the Turkish government might be approached to unilaterally open a second front.
But a battle already is raging in Turkey over its role in the U.S.-led coalition. In a politically risky move, Turkey's President Özal has thrown his Muslim nation squarely behind the Allies. He's provided bases for U.S. bombing of Iraq and shut off Iraq's oil pipeline. Özal hopes his support will be rewarded with more Western aid and even membership in the European Economic Community.
We are not becoming automatically a part of the war or aggressive nation. Absolutely not.
Yet in the border towns, now armed camps, few believe the government. There's no need for so many troops, says the mayor of one town. People fear they're going to attack. Still, the quiet buildup goes on. As Turkey prepares for a war, it hopes it's never forced to fight. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, London.
I've been working for Calumet Farm, soon be 49 years. I've worked for some famous horses.
What gives a certain group of people the ability to consistently do the impossible?
Take Calumet Farm. No other farm has ever dominated horse racing like Calumet. Whirlaway, Citation, Halidar. It would take a winner's circle as big as Kentucky to do justice to this amazing stable. When excellence becomes a tradition, there's no end to the greatness. And it doesn't happen only in horse racing. In the auto industry, Ford Motor Company has continually been a leader in innovation, and there's much more to come. Our new modular V8 represents a dramatic improvement in both efficiency and performance. And our new Crown Victoria and Grand Marquis are redefining the concept of luxury ride and handling. America fell in love with Ford in the 80s. And smart money will tell you, we're going to be even tougher to beat in the 90s. Ford Motor Company.
Sinus pain, sinus pressure, it really hurts. Sinutab combines Tylenol's painkiller with Sudafed's decongestant to work better than either one alone. It stops the pain. Sinutab stops sinus pain.
Doctors know there's a flaw in eggs. They're high in cholesterol, and diets high in cholesterol and fat can contribute to heart disease. Fleischmann's Egg Beaters are 99% real egg with 0 cholesterol and 0 fat. Egg Beaters, eggs without the flaw.
Police in Colombia say that a fugitive leader of the Medellin cocaine cartel turned himself in today. He is Juan David Achoca, the third Achoca brother to surrender since December. They've accepted government offers to give up in return for a shorter jail term and immunity from extradition to the United States. The South is in a deep freeze. Temperatures there hit record lows today, including 4 degrees in Asheville, North Carolina, and 25 in Jacksonville. Citrus growers are spraying trees with warm water. So far, little or no frost damage is reported. The war is exactly 1 month old tonight, but already hardly an aspect of American life has gone untouched, including in a big way domestic politics. Some thoughts on that now from Bruce Morton.
Some political friends of mine give a party about this time every 4 years, 1 year before those famous first-in-the-nation Iowa caucuses. They invite a lot of political consultants and pollsters and give everybody a sample ballot, the idea being to see who the so-called experts think the nominees will be. This year, they canceled the party. No candidates, they said. And David Yepsen, the knowledgeable political reporter for the Des Moines Register, has been telling Washington friends, don't come out. It's cold and nobody's campaigning here. The reason is the war, of course. It's popular, according to the polls, and so is President Bush, the war leader. That doesn't mean the Democrats won't field a candidate in 1992. It just means they want to wait a while. A number of potential candidates, people like Richard Gephardt, Lloyd Bentsen, Albert Gore, think there is a case to be made against the president once the war is over, especially if the recession lingers on. The Democrats' case basically is that the president has stressed America's role abroad, defender of other countries' boundaries, while neglecting a basic problem on the home front, the economic challenge posed by a booming Germany and Japan. Mr. Bush, the Democrats will say, has neglected research, technology, education, all the things America will need to compete successfully in the 21st century, a time when we'll need smart people and smart products, not just smart bombs. The Democrats think they can make that case, maybe even win with it, but not while there's a war on. Bruce Morton, CBS News, Washington.
Ziploc presents Fingerman.
Hi, I'm here to demonstrate a brand new invention. Introducing the new Gripper Zipper from Ziploc. Now the easiest closing bag there is. In fact, you can close it even if you're all thumbs.
How you doing?
Yes, the zipper is grabbing hold. It's locking. Feel it close the first time, every time.
Yeah.
Ziploc bags with the new Gripper Zipper. The easiest closing bag there is.
Now that was a snap.
Red Lobster introduces something new, something delicious. It's our specially priced new Shrimp Sensations dinner, just $7.99. With the tang of succulent new shrimp Veracruz and the flair of zesty new Parmesan fried shrimp, together with popcorn shrimp. All this just $7.99 for a limited time, but only at Red Lobster. So hurry.
Red Lobster for the seafood loving.
If you're counting calories, here's something you should know. An entire Kellogg's Special K breakfast, including cereal, fruit, skim milk, and coffee, actually has fewer calories than the leading diet shake. Fewer calories. And when you're dieting, isn't that what's important? Kellogg's Special K. Lose the fat.
For years, a Nevada town held a big secret. Well, now it is out in the open, and it is the talk of the town, or at least a whisper. Jerry Boyne has the story of one of the locals and making good.
Tonopah, Nevada, where the legends pass through. Wyatt Earp was a guard at the silver mines here, Jack Dempsey a bouncer at the old Mizpah Hotel. And now there's a new kid from town, fast becoming a legend in the Gulf War.
Oh, he was born and raised right out here on our desert. Oh, yes. We love him very much. We're very, very proud of him.
89-year-old Tony Buffum is known as the Mae West of Tonopah. And this is the kid that has everyone around here so excited. The Stealth, the F-117A fighter plane. For more than a decade, the Stealth was fine-tuned and test-flown from the government's top-secret Tonopah test range, the town's main employer, 50 miles out in the desert.
The F-117 remains virtually invisible and is highly effective.
The Stealth was officially unveiled only last spring, but the jet's been cruising over Tonopah so long, the school kids can easily tell it apart from the other planes roaring across the horizon.
The Stealth sounds like a ee, like that. You can always tell it's the Stealth, because all the other planes go.
So the signs of patriotism are everywhere in Tonopah. Lots of yellow ribbons here, and hearts. Bumper stickers, too.
That's the way it's supposed to be. This is America.
But after being sworn to secrecy for so many years, people still find it very difficult to talk about the Stealth. They'll show off their mementos, the beer can Stealth, and the disappearing Stealth coffee mug.
It's instilled in you from the time you hire on that you don't talk about it.
Even with the town pride in the Stealth, the strong bond townspeople have with the Stealth crews, and the belief by most that this war is the right war to be fighting, there are people here who are very worried.
I have a brother and quite a few family members over there, and so I have a fear in my heart.
I have mixed emotions. I have a 26-year-old son who's in the Navy.
And they worry about the future of Tonopah. The last operating mine closed again, and after the war, the Stealth is going too, to a new home in New Mexico. An old story here. Another legend is moving on. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Tonopah, Nevada.
And that's the news for tonight. Stay with CBS News for continuing coverage of the war. Charles Kuralt will have all the overnight developments first thing Sunday morning. I'm Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
This is CBS.
Okay, Peter Pan fans, today we are discussing the art of the peanut butter sandwich. How do we begin?
Left hand on the jar, right hand on the lid.
Now, the aroma of 780 freshly roasted peanuts. Okay, lay out the bread, curvy side away. Spread that creamy Peter Pan all the way to the edge. Now, who will volunteer their sandwich for my eating demonstration? Someone? Anyone? Please? Don't make me beg.
I'm Jerry Bissell. Are you still watching a small screen TV? Why not fully enjoy the pleasure of viewing your favorite programs on a